Yes, welcome back to the Whistleblowers podcast. Connor, aka Leavingnomics 1882 here. Just wanted to give you guys a bit of a finance update. You may have seen the Deloitte Football Money League 2026 has just been released, and as expected, perhaps record revenues for Spurs, Arsenal, Liverpool, and United have all been announced for the 24-25 financial year. I think for Tottenham specifically, revenues up circa 7% from 528 million to 565 million. As you can see from the rest of the top 10 there, Tottenham, the only club there in the top 10 who didn't make the Champions League. And so really great outcome from a financial perspective for us, particularly in a season where we also finished 17th. I think like most clubs now, commercial revenue making up the highest percentage, almost 50% of Tottenham's overall revenue. Obviously, that's massive contributions in terms of some of the non-footballing events, some of the big sponsors that we've got coming through as well. And so I think what this does show us, though, is absolutely critical for Tottenham to get back into that Champions League regularly, be competing at the top level, both to see that sort of growth in some of the other aspects, but also commercial revenue will go up when we're getting into the Champions League regularly because sponsors will also grow. I think in terms of the rest of the top eight above us, quite interesting for me to see the top four actually was all foreign clubs. So Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, PSG making up the rest of that top four there. And I think we hear a lot, obviously, about the Premier League money and how the Premier League dominates financially. So it was quite interesting to see those four there. I think certainly when you look a bit more broadly across the top 20, though, it certainly is the case that the Premier League is dominating. 9 out of the 20 top 20 richest clubs in this Deloitte Money League table are Premier League clubs. And so you're starting to see that. But I think going back again to the Champions League, you do see the impact of the Champions League money certainly coming through here. I think if it is Enix's ambition as they've set out to challenge on all four fronts, I mean, they've even said they want to win the Champions League and Premier League from a financial standpoint, and certainly for us as fans, that is very, very important, I think, if we want to get up this table as well, right? So I think in terms of Tottenham specifically for the 24-25 year, this was a season, as I said before, where we finished 17th. So in terms of that broadcast revenue, that is actually slightly down on the previous year, just as a result of those Premier League position money being lower. Commercial was up sort of 9%. Match day revenue on the year before was also up about 19%. That match day revenue we expected to be up because we only played 41 games in the year before. So overall, pretty good set of financial results. We'll obviously see more when the accounts are released at the end of March. See a bit more of a breakdown in terms of some of the other numbers as well, and we'll definitely give you an update then. But I think what this does show, as I've said quite consistently, is that Tottenham are a financial beast of a football club, and would be even more so if we were successful more regularly. And so I think if we start to think about ENIC 2.0 and where the Lewis family are going to take us next, I think they've probably realised they're sort of capped out now in terms of how far they can grow the club in terms of some of those non-footballing events and money that's generated from the stadium. And really the next step they can take if they want to grow that revenue and then ultimately grow what they can sell the club for is by getting that Champions League money more regularly and making sure that we are competing at the top. And but to do that, they are going to have to speculate to accumulate, as we've discussed before. And we're seeing the state of the squad right now. There's going to have to be a significant amount of money to get us competing again at those top levels. So it'll be interesting to see whether they do that. Obviously, I'm naturally quite cynical and sceptical given the last 24-25 years, but we will see. I think in terms of wages, specifically, we I mean, this is a bit small here, but you can see the wage to revenue ratio has increased from 42% to 44%. So that means our wage bill now is just shy of 250 million. I'm guessing most of that wage growth, because this is pre sort of the signings of Xavi Simons, Paulinho, Romero's new contract, Kolo Muani. So I'm guessing most of that wage growth is actually as a result of the Europa League winning bonuses coming through, perhaps a couple of bigger contracts for certain players. But yeah, still really low here, wage to revenue ratio at 44%. Certainly will be the lowest in the Premier League again. And I think, likely, if not the lowest, will maybe the second lowest in terms of the Deloitte top 20 as well. And so, Vinay himself acknowledged this. This is something that definitely needs to grow if we want to compete at the top level. And fans will draw their own conclusions again, I think, on this number being so low. I think in terms of 25-26 this year, obviously Champions League money coming in for this. Somewhat depends on where we end up finishing in the Premier League. Obviously, sitting 14th, 15th, we're still not getting that sort of significant share of Premier League position money that you'd expect us to get. Champions League, it does depend on how far we get, but certainly would start to expect those numbers to sort of be in the sort of at minimum 630, 640 million. Were we to get far in the Champions League or to significantly improve our Premier League position, you could see that go even higher. I mean, you can see here that obviously Arsenal have managed to get to 690 million pounds, which obviously is a record for them. And if the Lewises can learn anything from the Kroenkes did do that, speculate to accumulate. They backed their man significantly in the transfer window, significantly in terms of wages, and you'll see that's bearing fruits in terms of where they are now as a club in terms of revenue. So lots of food for thought there. Billy and I are planning on doing a show just to go through this in a little bit more detail, exactly what it means for Tottenham as we go into the transfer window, as we sort of think about our planning and hopefully a strategy going forward. But really appreciate you listening to that. Hopefully that was informative. Appreciate the finance stuff can be a bit heavy at times, but hopefully gives you all the details you need. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And if you do have any other questions from a financial perspective that would be good for me to address in due course, please do let me know. Thanks, guys.